Hello, how are you? Welcome to Big League Coaching. My name is Bill Laskey, and I'll be your host today as we're going to be talking about hitting. And who do I go to when I talk about hitting? A 14-year veteran. Let me introduce you to Joe Youngblood. How are you doing today, Joe?
I'm doing really great, Bill. And again, I have to reiterate how I enjoy to have this opportunity to share some of my experiences with people that have come to this class, hopefully to make them a professional player in the future.
Well, you know, the biggest thing we talk about is hitting philosophy, and that's what we're going to talk about today. You know, the vision part of the game, totally, of a hitter, the type of hitter you are, and also waiting on the ball, which is one of the toughest parts about being a hitter. You led the Giants in batting average. You hit home runs for the New York Mets one year and led the team in home runs. You're an excellent hitter, a 270 lifetime hitter. So let's talk about what you're going to bring to the class today.
Well, Bill, hitting philosophy is really, I kind of say it's a hitting approach, understanding how you're going to go in and control the strike zone with your skill set. And I think in this class, we're going to identify a little bit about what are the things that we have to understand. What kind of hitters are we? Are we controlling the things that are necessary to be successful in the game? And I really believe that this is going to be a very important class for everybody.
Well, one of the biggest things we talk about are high school, college, minor leaguers, and professionals. And I think the start of it is to understand all about the philosophy of hitting. So I'm going to let you start this class, Joel, and I'm going to sit back and watch it and enjoy it. And I'm going to learn a lot about hitting because I wasn't a good hitter. So I'll let you go from there.
Okay, thank you, Bill. We're going to jump into big league coaching, hitting philosophy. So there's three areas we're going to cover today: vision, type of hitter, and waiting for the ball. And these are all very, very important areas that we have to control in order to be successful and to be above and beyond what we think our potential is. And so I think the clarification with these different bullet points are going to bring your whole approach together. So when you start practicing and playing, you're going to have a lot more confidence, a lot more control, and a lot more consistency. Hitter's vision. Well, there's one thing I have to really tell you. Without vision, you can't hit. You have to be able to see the ball. It is the single most important thing that you have as a hitter, is controlling what you're seeing. You can hit anything you can see, but you have to make sure you're truly seeing the object or the ball as clearly as you can with true focus. So I have this diagram here, and if you look at this, the front of the head or from the nose straight away, this is your best visual focus right here. And as hitters, if I'm looking at the pitcher, that means the ball is going to be over here when I hit it. So I'll have to turn my head to get this triangle over in this area. But today we're just going to talk about this graph so we understand what we're talking about. That's the area we have to control. So if I move this over to this area, the ball has to be in this brown area. If I can see the ball in this area, that means I'm truly seeing the baseball. Or I'm really seeing the seams, or I could read what is actually on the ball if it was not moving. If you can control your vision to be able to have the ball somewhere in this area, you're going to hit 300 or more. Guaranteed, no questions asked. I've had several players hit well over 300. I've had one player almost hit 400, almost broke the Arizona league here in hitting, but they moved him and he didn't. But this is a huge area. This is the area that most hitters hit from. They're looking at the pitcher, but the ball is traveled to this direction or this area, and they haven't moved their head. They haven't followed the ball. And I know there's a lot of information out there that you can't track the ball. I really disagree with that. If they throw the ball at my head, why do we move out of the way? Because we see it coming at us. If you follow the ball to the catcher's glove, then you're going to be able to see the ball when you hit it in the strike zone. If you see a hitter, or you're one of the hitters that stops watching the ball out in front and never watch the ball to the catcher, that is a great indicator that you are in this area. You're going to be a 250 or below hitter. And that would be, if I cut this line in half, this is the area it requires to hit 250 or less. This is all, this area here is 300. If you're tracking the ball with peripheral view, then you're going to be hitting 210. And why did I say peripheral view? Because there's a big confusion with athletes in baseball. And I'll give you an indicator right here. And I really believe that if I look at this baseball and you're the pitcher, and this is the strike zone. Strike zone's over here. And I look at the pitcher. Can I see this ball as I'm looking? Yes, I can see my hand, my arm, and everything. But I cannot really see the ball. If I look at it now, I can see it clearly. But here it's not clearly. So it really is, it's really confusing, because as a hitter in my past, I'd come back and say, God, I don't know how I missed that ball. I saw it so well. Well, I saw it well enough to recognize it was a baseball, and I thought it was in my strike zone, but I didn't see it clear enough with total vision, where I didn't turn. And the only requirements, and this is another thing, when I look at the pitcher, I can't follow the ball with my eyes. That does not work. I can't go, no, I have to do this. It's a small rotation. Look at my rotation. I'm looking at the pitcher. That's all. That's all the movement. This is not the movement you're trying to control. You're trying to control this movement. And once you're able to control that movement, then you have the ability to really see the ball. So let's get back to the graph. This is true vision. If you just turn your head another 10 degrees, 5 degrees, you're going to be in this area with this brown. If you don't, you're using peripheral view, a segment of peripheral view, or percentage of your peripheral view, what is not clear enough to be a 300 hitter. And the discipline required to get your vision in this area is going to be the difference of you being an all-star, potential Hall of Famer, a potential professional baseball, the best player on your team. As a hitter, this is one of the criteria you must control. Okay. Again, I've talked about in other classes, I have other hitting classes, quick hands, soft toss. And you'll see this diagram of this ball in other classes. There's a little magic marker in the middle of the baseball. I'm going to reiterate what we're trying to do as a hitter. We're trying to have the bat hit that mark, or the middle of the baseball. And I have to understand how small that area is. And my eyes have to be fixed on the middle of the baseball. Judgment, where's the middle? Taking the bat head to the middle of the baseball. If I hit above the center, if I hit above this line right here, what do I create? Topspin. What does topspin do? It creates ground balls. If I hit the middle of the baseball, if I put the bat somewhere in this area here, I'm going to hit possibly a knuckleball, the hardest ball to hit as a baseball player. So there's no top spin, there's no bottom spin. And if I hit below center, if I hit somewhere in this area here, if I hit right here, that's really great. That's a home run. But nowadays they seem to, this new analytics, they're trying to teach everybody to swing below, come up below the line of center. I really disagree with that. And let me tell you the reason why I disagree with that. Because number one, it's really important to be a 300 hitter first before you become a home run hitter. And Willie Mays told me this a long time ago, and I'll never, ever forget it. And I told him, I said, Willie, I said, he was a coach for me in the Mets organization. I said, Willie, what was your approach as a hitter? What was you trying to do? He said, it was very simple, Joel. My first at bat, all I tried to do was hit a single, regardless where it was pitched. He said it was more important to hit 300 than it was to hit 50 home runs, but it was easier hitting 50 home runs when I was hitting 300. That makes a lot of sense to me. And so I really believe that you need to learn how to be a 300 hitter before you can maximize your potential to be a home run hitter. This is what I mean by that. If I'm more consistent around this area, I'm going to be hitting line drives through the infield to the outfield. I'll be hitting 1 and 2 hoppers through the infield, if not right to. I hit right here in this area here, it's a home run. It's out of the ballpark. I hit somewhere right here, it could be a double. If I'm hitting the ball in this area here, it's 0, over. You're taking a turn and sitting on the bench wondering how I missed that ball. You missed it simply because you didn't have the discipline to control the bat placement of the ball to get the results necessary to be a confident player. That's the discipline we're trying to teach. Hitting the ball horizontal to the ground will eliminate the amount of time the defense has to get the ball. Well, I played the infield and I played the outfield. In the outfield, you have 4 to 6 seconds to go run and catch a ball. I can run a long distance or sprint a long way in 4 to 5 seconds or 6 seconds. If you drive the ball, drive it, line drive kind of up in the air, just a little bit below center. Now you've eliminated at least 2 seconds from me to run. 2 seconds in a sprint will eliminate the distance I can cover. So you're taking away the ability of the defense to control the balls that you're hitting in order to be successful. So let's look at the ground balls. I was an infielder too. If a hitter hits a 1 or 2 hopper, and if it's not right to me, I have only the opportunity to take 1 step and catch it. 1 step and catch it. If you hit a 5 or 6 hopper, which means you hit way up here in this area, now you're going to give me an extra second to take 2 more steps or 3 more steps to get to this ground ball. It's also creating gravity, or it's creating friction every time it hits the ground, which means it's slowing down, which is giving me more opportunities to get to the ball. So these are all very important things, I believe, that we can control as hitters to be successful. And how do I identify that? Well, it's very simple. Pitchers do not get hitters out. Hitters get themselves out by not understanding how to control the bat placement of the ball. What does that mean? Well, I'm gonna have to explain that to you. Okay, that simply means this. Once the pitcher throws the baseball, he has no more control of it. It's out of his control. He's only set everything up in his mind and his delivery to know where that ball's going. Once it's in the air, he can't redirect it. It's not a computer game. He can't change direction when he sees what I'm doing. So now it's me and the baseball. I'm not against the pitcher anymore. I'm against the baseball. I'm fighting, I'm attacking, or I'm competing against the baseball now. The pitcher has established the difficulty it's going to require for me to be successful. But my ability to be successful is the discipline for me to put the bat on the ball in the middle of the ball to control the direction of the ball off the bat. If I do that, regardless of what the pitcher does, I can be successful. And when you do that, the pitcher takes his hat off to you and says, nice swing. Well, when I don't do it, and the pitcher makes a great pitch and I miss it, I go back and say, that was a great pitch. But every great pitch is a hittable pitch if it's in the strike zone, because I can control every pitch in the strike zone because I'm protecting the strike zone with my bat coverage. So therefore, I believe we have the ability to hit all strikes. I can't hit balls out of the strike zone. So if a pitcher can get me to chase balls or go after pitches that look like strikes but are not strikes, I take my hat off to them or my helmet and say, you got me today. You know,
one thing you said, Joel, that you talked about when pitchers release the ball. We talk about vision. We talk about how hitters set up. Tell us the importance of watching the ball when it's coming out of the release point of the pitcher, because that's really the first instinct a hitter has of watching it and approaching that pitch.
How correct you are. And the reason why is the three things a hitter has to do first. And they always tell you never watch the pitcher's head, watch where he's throwing from. So it's just off of his head. If he's right-handed, it's just off. If it's off on this side, left-handed, off on this side. So when I see the hand and the ball come out of the hand, the first thing I'm going to be able to identify is location. Where is the pitcher trying to throw this pitch based on the angle that's coming out of his hand? So I can see if the ball is going to be up, or I can see if it's going to be away, or if I can see if it's going to be in. So the first thing I have to do is identify where is he trying to throw it. The second thing I have to identify is it going to be an off speed? Is it going up and coming down? You know, so the high pitch, any breaking ball has to come down in order to be a strike. So if I see it going up and I see it coming down, I know I have to go down with it. So once I've identified location, now I have to prepare myself with my hand position, which I teach in quick hands, is how to be ready to hit that ball when it comes to my strike zone. I'm in a position to hit it. So if I'm sitting here and I'm in here and I see the ball is going to be in, I see it up and in. Now I'm sitting here waiting and I see it. Now I can hit it in. But if I see it's going to be away, my first move is to get myself prepared to hit that ball away. So the third thing I have to do is hit the ball correct, which is hit the middle of the baseball. I always tell everybody, don't try to hit the ball hard, try to hit the ball correct. In any sport, if you hit the ball correct, you hit it hard. If you try to hit it hard, you don't hit it correct. And so hardness is not a relaxed, quick motion. It's a hard, forceful motion, which slows a lot of other mechanical things down with your swing. But if you're just being quick, now it becomes a reactional thing. It's all quickness. Pitcher throws a quick pitch, I have a quick swing. If I can put his quickness together with my quickness, then we have a good opportunity here to be successful. So again, remember this chart right here. You have to control. This has to be my strike zone if I'm looking over here at the pitcher. I have to bring my eyes to my strike zone. If I can see, I can hit anything I can see. I just have to make sure that I can see it. And this test right here, get somebody to hold the ball up over here, middle away, hold it, and look at the pitcher and say, oh, I can see that. And I just tell them to do this. Turn your head and look at the ball. Oh, what a difference it makes. Once you can understand that and you can control that, you're going to make a lot more contact with efficiency and the ability to be successful. Style of hitter. There's many, many styles of hitting in Japan and Korea and United States and Dominican and Puerto Rico and Venezuela. There's just a number of different stance. And I think we need to just talk about some of these so you have an understanding or idea how you feel you will be comfortable at the plate when you're hitting. So we have the ends, inside, middle, and away. So my stance, I can stand close to the plate, I can stand far back, or I can stand in the middle. That's where I used to stand. So anybody that stands that close to the home plate is telling you one thing. They want the ball inside. They want to be quick. They want to pull the ball. They're challenging the pitcher, saying, you can't get me out inside. And another reason you stand close is because you don't like the slider. So you want to get closer to the ball, breaking away from you to make it easier to be able to thin that pitch. So I was a person that liked the ball inside, understanding that it's going to require me to be quick because most pitchers are going to challenge me until they realize I have quick hands. And then they're going to realize that he has a weakness away. That's why he's standing close. So they need to work on my weakness, don't work on my strengths, because I'll turn that ball around.
You know, one of the things I see when hitters stand on top of the plate, they're kind of telling the pitcher, challenge me inside, because if pitchers can't throw the ball inside, you're going to be all flat head right on top of the ball on that outside pitch. So you're kind of challenging that pitcher also to say, come on inside, I'm waiting for you.
Well, it is definitely, anytime a pitcher sees somebody stand this close to the plate, they have to test it. They have to find out if you're going to be able to get the bat out front. And if you threw me the fastball in and I pulled it foul, you're going to say, oh my God, that was pretty quick. You know, and you say, I better not miss inside. So let's get back to, this is a straight stance. I'll talk about different stances in a minute, but this is straight, so I want to identify this. The next one is, that's middle. That's kind of not away, kind of middle of the batter's box. You kind of don't like the ball in, but you kind of like to kind of go towards the plate when you take that strike or take that pitch. And then you have people that stay way, way far away from the plate. So these are three different areas you can choose from that you feel comfortable with. And then we go to stance. I showed you the straight stance. And now I came up with a great organization in the 70s, the Cincinnati Reds. And we had some great players, Johnny Bench, Pete Rose, Joe Morgan, you know, Tony Perez, David Concepcion. I just keep going. George Foster, Ken Griffey, Joel Youngblood.
That's a good lineup. Let me tell you, I watched them.
And so there was a lot of different stances. This is more of a closed stance, which means your left foot, if you're right-handed, is closer and your back foot's away. So it kind of keeps your shoulders, and let me show you what that means. So I just dropped the bat. So if I have a closed stance, then my hips are in this direction, which means my shoulders are in this direction, which also means I'm lined up more to my strike zone instead of the pitcher. When I'm in the straight stance, now look at my shoulders. See, now my shoulders are lined up to the pitcher and my feet are lined up to the pitcher. So a lot of people take the closed stance to get them more angled for the strike zone, which I totally agree is acceptable. It all depends on what you're comfortable with. I also used a small closed stance when I hit. I wasn't straight. My front foot was just a tad in front of my back foot. And I took a little bit of a stride towards the strike zone. And you know, Johnny Bench and all these other guys did the same thing. I copycatted a lot of people, so they were so great. So I think
one of the things I'd like to ask when you do stances and you look at all the different variations of stances, do you change your stance within an at-bat, or are you kind of stabilized just to watch the at-bat and seeing how the pitcher is going to challenge you?
Well, Bill, I really believe that these stances that hitters take are really created by something they were unaware of how to control. So if you have an open stance, that means you need to feel open for the inside pitch early. So when you see that pitcher let go of the baseball, you have an open stance. You're not worried about the inside pitch because you're already open. You're already in position to hit the ball to left field. Closed stance are almost in a position where you're kind of angling, going the opposite way, center field. A lot of power hitters that have the ability to hit the ball over center field use a closed stance. But I really believe that all these positions that you can take in the batter's box are directly related to your bat quickness, your ability to control the strike zone, which pitches you like to hit. I like to hit the inside pitch, so I got closer, wanting the pitcher to do it. A lot of people that stand away from the plate like to hit the ball away, which means they're going to go into the plate. but they have so much freedom. So if I stand away from the plate, the inside pitch is where? Down the middle. And if it's away, I really have to go into it and hit the ball. But if I'm standing in close to the plate, the inside pitch, I have to be quick and on top of my game to hit that ball. All I have to do is have the discipline to wait for the breaking ball away. So I believe really the type of hitter you are or the style of hitter you are will dictate your position in home plate, which you think you can maximize your desire of what pitch you want to hit and how you want to, or where you want to hit it, how you want to go to the ball, which type of.
So have you used all these stances? Have you gone inside, outside, closed side? Have you done all this? And what was the most comfortable stance you used?
Well, Bill, actually, when I first signed in baseball, I asked one of our managers, I said, which stance should I use? And he told me this. He told me to close my eyes. So I'm sitting here. He said, just close your eyes. He said, now move your feet until you feel like you have control, balance. For me, this was my position. I don't feel like I have control here with my feet close together. You know, this position here, just, you know, so for me, I believe where you feel that you have the most balance and most control, if you're not able to see or feel, you know, I would have hitters get in that position. I'd say, close your eyes, and I'd start pushing them to see if they could control themselves. If they have the ability to have the foundation to control themselves. So I really believe it's going to be a trial and error, figuring out what you like, where you feel comfortable, which pitches you like. And I honestly, getting back to the question, I tried to be George Brett one time. I went and worked, it was at the Giants. I went in the cage for 2 weeks and I worked on that stance. And I finally said, nah, it's not going to work for me.
But you know, when I look at all these stances, and of course I was a pitcher, I had to go up against all these stances. It seems like balance seems to be the big word here. Where's your weight distribution in all these stances? Well,
you have to be on, you know, one thing I don't see a lot of players do now, you know, and I'm gonna, so your back foot, so home plate is right here. Most people are putting their back foot in this position, straight to the base. I turned my foot a little bit because all the old timers were doing that. And I would dig a hole to put my toes in the hole so I have leverage to push off. If my toes are turned a little bit towards the home plate, that means I'm going to be squared up to the strike zone I hit. So this is something you can try. Put your foot like this, home plate's here, and just rotate your hips. Meaning, so if my foot is straight and I rotate my hips, this is all tight. But if I turn my foot a little bit, now I rotate, I have freedom. So it's all about understanding the connection between your foot position, the ligaments and muscles, how they restrict your back hip. You want to have everything unrestricted, everything free to move very fast, your hips. Your hips are going to move really fast when you attack the baseball. And so I believe if your foot is turned, both feet should be turned a little bit towards the front of the plate. Not to the pitcher, obviously, not to the umpire, obviously, but I don't think they should be straight. I don't think home plate should be in the middle of your feet. I think home plate should be, your feet should be pointed in a direction of like, 35, 25, 35, 45 degrees towards home plate. That will give you freedom in your hips. And I think it's huge. And get on your toes. You have to be on your toes, not flat-footed, because you're using your toes. And what does the toes do also? The toes kind of put you in this position instead of getting you back on your heels, where you're away from home plate, where I have to be a little bit tilted towards home plate, because this is my attack area, which is where? Below my eyes and away from me. I'm not saying over here, over here. This is the area. I want my toes to be pointed to this area. And I think it will quicken.
You know, one of the things you said that makes sense so much is having your eyes and your body so, you know, parallel to the hitter and to the pitcher, especially when different pitches are coming from a fastball to breaking balls off speed. I see so many hitters with that open stance and they close it. What's the positive part of doing that? And what's the negative part of having that open stance?
Well, again, Bill, I honestly believe that they were getting jammed, and some coach told them to open up instead of telling them that it was their hand position why they were getting jammed. It was the way they were coming through the strike zone. That's the reason why they were getting jammed. They were pulling the bat through the strike zone instead of throwing the bat head. But they tried to fix something else because they were unaware of the real reason they were not able to get the bat head on the ball inside. And so they opened them up so they would feel freedom, so they weren't cautious of it. When I teach hitting, Bill, I always teach you must learn how to hit the inside pitch first. If I can hit the inside pitch, now I have the ability to wait when it's not inside. But if I can't wait, if I can't hit the inside pitch, I have to always be cheating. And you as a pitcher would identify that and you would take advantage of me. But once I can show you that I can control the inside part of the plate, I've taken that away from you. That whole part of the plate is mine now. The only thing you can do is come off the plate inside and hope I swing at it, and it's too far inside. I pull it foul or I get jammed. But
one thing, Joe, when you talk about philosophies, and I'm a pitcher, and I teach the exact same thing to my pitchers, I want you to throw inside first. Because if you can throw inside, that hitter doesn't take that part of the plate away from you. And that just showed you and I, as a pitcher to a hitter, it's the same philosophy of teaching. If you can hit the inside pitch, and I'm teaching to throw that inside pitch, it is so magnificent when you're hearing the same kind of psychology of a pitcher against a hitter. And you just taught the same thing that I teach on pitching. It's amazing how we both think.
Absolutely. So we're going to go to count management. So we talked about, you know, how close do we stand at the plate? What's our stance look like? Now we're going to go count management. Ahead of the count. This is ideally where you want to be when you're hitting all the time. I was taught at a very young age that you're trying to position yourself to be in one of these counts as a hitter. So I'm always, because when I'm in one of these situations or these counts, I am aggressive. I have the ability to take a pitch, and I'm looking for something I can really go after aggressively. I'm looking for what? A mistake, a pitcher's mistake. If he doesn't make a mistake, it requires more discipline from me. But if he throws me or he makes a mistake in these counts, I better be ready. And at number one, 0-0. And I don't know why.
These are counts as a pitcher that now I'm on the defensive side, because now if I walk you, fine. But if I'm coming at you, most of the time you're going to see a fastball in these counts.
That's exactly why you position yourself. Every hitter in baseball is a fastball hitter. You'll never make it if you can't hit the fastball. You know, the maximum number of fastballs pitches per game are way higher than curveballs or breaking balls. So fastball, you have to hit a fastball. So 0-0, the first pitch of the game, I believe could be the mistake that a pitcher could make. You have to be ready to hit the first pitch of the game. So let's just say I'm going up and I'm looking for a fastball 0-0, and he throws me a breaking ball and I take it. I take it because I didn't want to hit it, because I was looking for a fastball. But what did I accomplish? I saw what it looks like, and now he has a choice. I'm still 0-1 now. Is he going to throw me 2 breaking balls in a row? I just saw one. If he does that, I'm going to hit that one. Now he has to throw a fastball. or he's going to throw me some different pitch, or he's going to waste a pitch, a fastball. So there's two things you have to understand. You're always looking for what you want, and it gives you the ability to analyze the pitches you don't want to hit if they throw them early in the count. The more times you can see the breaking pitch, the easier it is going to be for you to hit it when he throws it, when you know it's a strike. So these counts, always position yourself to hit ahead of the count, because now you have the option to take a pitch if it was a good pitch or a pitcher's pitch, and you're looking for a mistake.
Joe, how do you relax when you're ahead of a count? If you're a hitter, how is the mental side of the game when you're ready to grip that bat? You don't want to grip it so tight. You want to be relaxed when you're in that zone, especially if a pitcher's behind where you have the advantage here. How do you get your mindset to relax?
Number one, Bill, you never, ever get into the box unless you're ready to hit. So I used to put 1 foot in the box, 1 foot out of the box when I'd take my sign from the third base coach. And then after I got the sign, I would prepare myself for what I was going. You know, I'm going to look for a fastball. Or once I put that second foot in the box, I'm not thinking anymore. You kind of stop thinking. You're only seeing, because you can only do two things at one thing at a time. If I'm thinking, I'm not really seeing. But if I'm seeing, I'm not thinking, because what I'm seeing is information which causes me to process. That is a subconscious thought process of thinking. So I have to take away analyzing, looking for something, and I have to rely on my eyes, which is where all the information comes in, relying on what I'm seeing, and based on what I'm seeing, that transfers to my hand action, which controls my bat placement with the ball. And that probably is less than a half of a second. You don't have a lot of time to do it, but if you continue to do it, it becomes easier, easier, and easier. So you're always processing by what? Your vision. You've already had your practice. You've already been in the cage. You've already had 3 months of playing. You don't need to think about what you're doing. You know what you're going to do. You stop thinking. Just go up there and understand, what am I trying to do? I'm trying to hit the middle of the baseball and wait and be quick and drive the ball. That's it. I'm looking for a mistake. I'm looking for the middle of the baseball. That's all I'm looking for, the middle of the baseball. That's it. Nothing else. Look. Process information and just react to what you see, and you're able to process. The information is sent to your hands and you react with the hands. So here we go. Two-strike approach. Well, behind the count. Every one of these counts have 2 strikes on them. This is not a good position for a hitter.
For me, it is. I love being 0-2 on a hitter. I can make so many things happen when, instead of ahead of the count, now I got you. So now I put you in that defensive mode, and this is how I'm going to see how you're going to get out of it.
Okay, so when we're ahead of the count, I'm aggressive. I'm on the end of the bat. I'm whipping it. I might even fall over home plate if I miss the pitch. When I'm behind the count, I've changed my whole approach. Now, if I used to kind of one finger up, handle was on the back. Let me show you this. Okay. I didn't get all the way to the end. I never had my hand. I always had the bottom of my hand touch the bat, which was kind of one finger up. So this is where I was ahead of the count. Behind the count, choke up. Why? Because now I cannot be aggressive. I can't look to drive the inside pitch, because the pitcher has the potential chance of throwing me a nasty slider on the outside corner, or throwing me a changeup, or waste a pitch up and in and go low and away. I have to be in position where I feel I can control myself. What else I do? Two-strike approach we're talking about. So this is my stance. So I'd always
step to here. Two-strike approach. Now I start where I finished on my head of the count approach. Now all I do is lift the foot up and put it down. There's no more stepping. See the body moving? I got to keep the body from moving any. So I start off where I want to finish, and I just pick my heel up, leave my toe on the ground. And I use my hips again. I told you about how to use them with my quick hands. And then you're able to wait. And there's one other thing with two strikes. I don't think anybody teaches this. It's called the emergency swing. And
I know that one real well. I love watching
emergency swing. Everybody in that dugout over there better be careful in the stands, because what does an emergency swing mean? I'm behind the count. The pitcher made an unbelievable pitch. It could be on the black. It could be outside. I don't know. The umpire could call it a strike. So what do I have to do? I go, oh, I just foul it off. I try to hit it just over there. So I'm forcing the pitcher to throw me another pitch, and hopefully he can't duplicate what he just did, because it was unhittable, but it wasn't untouchable. And untouchable means I still have one more pitch to get a base hit. So emergency swing is huge. If you think the umpire is going to call it a strike, foul that ball off. And that you can really get a pitcher upset if you foul off 2 or 3 pitches. They don't like that at all.
You know, one of the things you talk about is choking up. The average hitter now doesn't choke up. They don't even come off the end of the bat. Why do you think choking up has kind of disappeared in baseball?
I don't know. I honestly,
seeing hitters choke up, because I know what
I believe there's just a lot of people coaching that don't understand the benefit and the struggles that big league pitching can put against a big league hitter, how good they are, how difficult it is to hit sometimes. And everybody's still thinking about the home run with 2 strikes. If I was a pitcher and I had a hitter thinking about a home run, 2 strikes, I would be a Cy Young. But you know, it's that little pesky hitter that you can't get out. It's never going to give up. Those are the ones that are difficult. And a 2-strike approach is a huge advantage. And when I was a AAA hitting coach, I mean, I was teaching the 2-strike approach, and the coordinator told me don't teach that anymore. For the life of me, I could never understood it, but I don't think he played in the major leagues, so that probably determines. Okay, this is probably the most important thing that we're going to talk about today. This is swing mechanics. The grip. The grip, hands, knuckles are not, they can be this way. Mine used to be a little bit like this. They can, long as you have the wrist is turned. See this position? You have to, now the bat's on top of the hand. If I have the wrist straight, the bat falls down. That causes you to lag. The grip is huge, and it's always in your fingers. You grab it and you hold it. Both hands. Okay. Stay back, load, or wait for the ball. If you don't stay back, you'll never be a good hitter. How do you stay back? Well, I don't think a lot of people talk about it. This is the way you stay back. Look at this top. See how the knees are getting close together? Look at the angle of the shin off from the knee. Watch the angle. See the angle? See the angle? See the hips starting to come through, help the hands? Now let's look at this video. Look at the knees. Watch the knees come together. See this angle right here? Now I have a really good example for you to try. I want you to come up, kind of get close to a wall. So, if I was going to kick something up here, am I going just to pick my knee up? No, I'll fall. But if I'm going to kick something over here, I got to turn my knee up to stay on my back foot. Now I can kick. So you have to practice these things to understand what the lower half responsibility is. So these angles, knees close together, angle. You should be able to see the bottom of your foot. Lower half responsibility. Lower half responsibility is to do the same thing every time. Regardless of the pitch, regardless of the location, your lower half is basically a timing mechanism to time the pitcher. So a pitcher's getting ready to throw, he's doing all this motion and movement. The lower half has motion and movement to correspond to the pitcher's movement. So the lower half is just to get you prepared. The lower half is the responsibility for your hands to be quick. That's
Joe,
it.
both of these hitters right here have great timing with their bottom legs. You can see that. Is there something that you like in the top one rather than the bottom one, or are they both comparable?
I think they're both great. I think long as you can get the knees to come together, you have to bend. The top one is a stride. The bottom one is a toe touch. Toe touch and stride, as long as you can control this knee. This knee has to be going back in this direction, which leaves the foot out here. The knee has to be going back. That's the only way you can sit on your back leg. Because if I was going to balance with one leg, I'd have to hold the other leg up, the knee close. I couldn't just pick it up because I couldn't have balance.
Would you say when these hitters pick up the knee, the pitcher's ready to release the ball? If maybe he hasn't released the ball, what would you say right when these guys are picking up that foot? Where is the pitcher at that time?
Okay. I'm sitting here. The pitcher's I'm looking at the pitcher. I'm waiting on the ball. The pitcher now starts his wind up, and right when the pitcher starts to get to right about when he's starting to come at you, now I'm timing I'm getting all my lower half ready to when I see the ball. My movement is when as soon as he lets go of the ball, right after he lets go of the ball. It's basically he's getting ready, I'm getting ready. He's getting ready with his upper half to throw the ball. I'm getting ready with my lower half to be in position to hit the ball when it gets to my strike zone.
That's a great point, especially with a pitcher and a hitter, because sometimes pitchers have a slower motion. Sometimes they're really quick to the plate. And I think what you just described is exactly what hitters need to do when they're ready to approach that pitch. And great example right there.
Yeah, upper half is just basically simply this. Fastball in, fastball up and away, fastball down and away, fastball down the middle, fastball down and in. So there's two distinct responsibilities with the lower half and the upper half. And I will have a bat path lesson that will show the top half more detailed where you understand that. Timing. You can ask this question to everybody. And so ask this question, what's timing? Timing is simply one thing. When you decide to attack the ball, based on where you think the location of that ball is going to be and where my bat has to be. And so I call it now. That's timing. I've used my knees to wait. I've used my upper half to be in position. Now I'm waiting for my mind to say, now. So I want every hitter to get ready or be in position to hit every pitch thrown, regardless where it is, and you have a choice, yes or no, yes or no. But you have to practice the controllability of positioning yourself in the right area to hit that ball, so you have to do it every time. Next class will be posted on the calendar. And as you can see, there's other instructors that are great. And it was a great class. I hope everybody learned. Remember this, stance is
what you feel comfortable. Knees together to weight is huge. You have to practice that. You have to practice. If it's a toe touch, long as you get your knees to come together, not your knees coming up. And what's timing? When you decide to hit the ball. Very clearly.
Joe, one of the great classes you've put on and all the information you gave us today, as well as the class listening, just some fantastic stuff to work at any age. And some of the things you talked about, the vision, the type of hitter, are so important for every hitter to know where to stand in the box, what your thought pattern is. Outstanding. Again, Joe, fantastic. I want to thank you again for a great class on hitting. And once again, check on Joel Youngblood's hitting classes, as he's doing them every 2 weeks. And every class is just like this, full of information for every age of a baseball player. For Bill Laskey and Joel Youngblood, I'd like to thank you for joining Big League Coaching, and we hope to see you again. Have a great day.
Thank you.